Hello, welcome to our third session, and in this session we're going to create the spine joints. Now, rather than manually trying to kind of create joints and trying to adjust the differences or the distance between each joint, we can actually use some ready-made script that enables us to split the joints. And as a TD, it's good to actually automate some of the stuff. So there are sets of scripts and shelves developed by artists, and this one is, I think, from one of the ex Veta digital. I think it's Jason's. It used to be with Autodesk. I've got a set of script that enables us to actually do some of these things. So this is what you do. I've got a copy of the script set anyway. So the scripts are in the you will find on the on your sites. But I've got this scripts, and what we do basically, we copy all the scripts and always keep a backup copy into documents, Maya, 2022 scripts, paste there. And also within the scripts itself, when you bring it in as a shelf, you have icons that represent each script, and making sure that these icons are copied. These are just images, and they're put under the preferences icons, and then once you've done that, you can do this. You can simply go to cog icon on your script, on your shelf, load shelf, and find that script folder, and in there is a file called animation friendly rigging. It should be roughly 18 or 17.9 kilobyte. And when you load it, it brings up a shelf. Now the shelf initially might be a bit blank, or if you don't see the icons, you can put into multiple places under My Documents, Maya 2022. Once you load it, it's important to just close Maya off and then load it again, and then you will have access to those scripts. If not, you just have to manually draw the bones. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to simply from the front view, I'm going to draw two bones to represent the spine initially. So if I go to skeleton, create joints, option box, usual setup of Y being primary axis, Z and Z. And I'm going to just make sure I'm on the X-ray joints, and I'm going to place the first joint up here, and holding on to shift, I draw a straight line and the last joint there. Now, when you first draw the joints like this, making sure that the X is centered nicely. So we want to start with dead in the center, and then we want to make sure the first, almost like the root joint, is in the right place. I'm just going to turn on wireframe on shaded. We're going to look for the pelvis. Just keep an eye on your anatomy. That's where the beginning, from the front view, from the side view, that's it, and from the back view. Again, depending on the character, these things, you can even bring it up down a bit if you like, but we know that this is the bone, the bony area, and you can see around the hips, so that's fine. And then we bring this end joint down here, and that's it. So what I'm going to do, just look for the split joint icon, click on here, and then if I type, let's say there are already two out there. If I put 6, let's see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think that should be enough. Actually, should have been, we'll split into 7 because we need the head joint as well. There we go. Now what I could do, I could then bring these down. I'm going to bring these guys down. Actually, this is fine. This is fine. That's the neck joint. That's the mid neck, and this is the head joint. That's it. So what I'm going to do next is that now, because the the spine of my character is a bit different. It's not straight. In your case, it might be straight and everything could just meet up there. Well, I could just slightly make some changes. For instance, from here especially, we could just start pushing this down a bit, this way a bit, sorry, and then this guy down here, and then the head joint right under the ear. It will be good to keep this straight, so Z is that way. I'll just grab the number, a copy of the Z, and then apply it here, see what we can get. That's it. Okay, so each character it's different in terms of its style and so on and so forth. And the spawn doesn't do much, so we can just leave it there, slightly like this, and this one that way. Yeah, I'm sure in your case you might have a straight bone setup. It will work. That's it. And the next thing we're going to do, we just want to make sure our orientations are right. So we're going to go to skeleton, orient joint again, just making sure that just a double check and press apply. And then go to the last joint. I'm just going to pull this up a bit and make sure its joint orientation is set to 0. So we're cool. And the idea is this: when you hold on to the right mouse button, select hierarchy, and if you were to rotate this along the X, it should curl like a normal spine. So that's done. The next thing we're going to do is name these. So I know that this is spine 1. I'm going to go to 2, 3, 4. So select those, and we're going to look for rename. So it says name and that number, blah, 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 with an extension. So these are the deforming joints. So I'm going to call this spine hash, which represents number, and then underscore JX. Let's see what we get. Press enter. So spine 1, 2, 3, 4 JX. This one, neck 1 and neck 2. Neck hash underscore JX. Press enter. And this one, head, I can call it base or head. Yeah, head base underscore JX. And this one is not a JX. This one is not deforming it. So head and I'm going to call this JNT. And that's it. The next thing we're going to do, because these are kind of the spine joints, we also need a main kind of mother of all control joint that can actually control everything. So yeah, we just want to make sure that we've got the mother of all our joints, which is a root joint. So the best thing to do, rather than recreating one joint, we could just duplicate the existing setup. I'm just going to click on Control D and delete everything underneath and call this root JNT. This one is not deforming, it's just carrying the others. In fact, we can just increase its radius to make it more obvious. So it's that guy out there. And we want everything in terms of the spine setup to be the child of that root joint. So I'm going to select the spine 1, and it's all collapsed and it holds everything there. Control click on the root joint and press P. Or now the root joint becomes the parent of all. Or the other way is to middle mouse the spine 1 JX joint and just drop it on top of the root joint, and that will actually create the parent and child hierarchy. That's that. And the other thing we're going to do, we also need a joint for the pelvis, so we can separate the bottom and the hierarchy from the top in a way. So now that we've got that, I'm going to duplicate this one and I'm going to delete everything under it. And that's we're going to call this pelvis underscore JX. It's the joint that's going to hold the deformation for the buttocks and this area right before the hips. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to duplicate this one because we need, like the head joint, we need an end joint. We need an end joint just to see it visually. I'm going to drag and drop this on top of the pelvis one. I'm going to call this pelvis and JNT. This is not a JX one. And that's it. And the end JNT, I'm just going to pull it down like this so you can see the pelvis is like that. But we want to orient this so that the y-axis points down. Skeleton, orient joint, same setup, press apply. And let me just go here, change out my tool settings to object mode so we can see the difference. That's it. So it's the y-axis is now pointing down. And I'm going to click on the end joint and making sure everything is zeroed out. So now the pelvis will act like this. You know, he can shake his bum and so on and so forth. And when we kind of get this character to seat on a seat or something, we can slightly tilt this as an extra, as well as the legs. And the pelvis is also the child of the root joint, not the child of a spine or something. It's just the child of the root joint. Middle mouse, drag and drop, and you will see there are two hierarchies, one going up for the spine, one going down for the pelvis, and this guy carries both together. And that's it. This is the bone setup for the spine. And in the next session, we're going to do the clavicle, and we're going to start talking about controls for the legs, spines, and the arms. Thank you for watching.